Whitehall, built by Berg and DeVosta, looks similar to many other such projects built throughout the United States. But underneath the surface similarity, Whitehall stands unique. For example, while the overall scale and logistics of this project are impressive, even more impressive is the fact that the structure for each 4-story, 24-unit Whitehall is completed in 4 working days, with the entire building from day 1 to certificate of occupancy taking just 51 working days to complete. And this speed, together with the resulting economies, has no negative impact on quality. To the contrary, Whitehall is so well built and so well planned that each building is sold out well before completion. And both the fast build-out and the strong advanced sales are connected. They're connected by the brilliant logistical planning of the developer, Berg and DeVosta, and the practical, efficient tunnel form construction method developed by a French company called Outinord. This combination of planning and construction efficiency, plus the superiority of reinforced concrete as a building material, is what makes the Whitehall story worth telling. And if you're a builder of residential housing or similar repetitive type structures, a story worth learning about. We've chosen to tell the Whitehall story by showing you a typical one-day construction sequence, because that's the essence of the Outinord tunnel form building system, and the reason Berg and DeVosta have become one of America's most successful builders. Each day is a repeat of the day before, so what you see today is identical to the work procedures performed yesterday, as well as those to be performed tomorrow. Thus, every worker, no matter how unskilled, knows what must be done and how to do it. And because every step is repetitive, occurring at the same time each day, every action can be meticulously planned, right down to the exact time or exact day to schedule subcontractors and material deliveries. From subcontractor to subcontractor, steel to bathrooms, or nails to wallboard, the developer is in complete control. Before we actually view the job site here at Whitehall, let's take a minute to show you how the Outinord daily work cycle progresses in this animated format. After the slab is poured, a crane moves an Outinord half-tunnel form into position. Note how the kicker curve is used as a positioning guide to assure proper alignment and thickness of vertical walls. Next, the adjacent half-tunnel form is positioned, and the crew installs reinforcement steel and door, window, or duct blockouts prior to positioning the next form. This process is repeated until all Outinord half-tunnel forms are set in place for the day's pour. As the forms are placed, workers begin on the upper slab, installing reinforcement steel, electrical conduit, and plumbing blockouts where needed. Note here, too, how the Outinord system integrates special kicker blocks to continue the precise alignment and thickness of walls and slab on upper floors. With all forms and reinforcement steel in place, the concrete pour is started. At completion, workers fire up the built-in propane heaters and drop the enclosing curtains. This heating process helps cure the concrete overnight to an approximate 60% of its final strength, permitting reuse of the same forms early the next morning. At this time, the forms are removed, temporary shore posts are positioned, and the forms are prepped for reuse in the next production cycle. This repetitive work cycle assures a consistent and predictable construction schedule as the crew proceeds to produce the same amount of square footage each and every work day. The building shell expands horizontally or upwards in accordance with the pre-planned logistics of the individual project. The simultaneous casting of walls and slab in a single pour is both efficient and a structural advantage. The monolithic nature of Outinord construction results in increased resistance to seismic forces and wind loads. Now, let's see what happens in a real-world work environment as captured in these scenes shot at Whitehall in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's 7 a.m. and the Berg and DeVosta work crew arrives to begin today's work cycle. We should point out that although this scenario takes place in Florida, it could, and indeed is taking place at thousands of similar projects throughout the world, virtually 365 days a year. For over 25 years, whether in the searing heat of Africa or the freezing cold of northern Europe, Outinord tunnel forms have been used to build better and build faster than any other construction method. And it's evident, even to those without a construction background, that these crews are efficient. Each crew member knows his or her responsibility and performs it quickly and properly with a minimum of supervision. The first step in the Outinord process is to remove the forms from yesterday's pour and reposition them in their new positions, which today takes them from the second floor to the third floor. After the forms are in place and all reinforcement steel, blockouts, plumbing, and conduit installed, we pour the concrete to complete the day's cycle. Usually, this entire process is completed by 3 to 4 p.m. It is interesting to note that Berg and DeVosta workers are free to go whatever time the day's work is completed. This interesting use of human psychology works wonders in assuring teamwork and speed from every worker regardless of ability, pay grade, or role on the team. As you can see, the forms are being removed and repositioned with remarkable speed and efficiency. Here we see a worker installing temporary shoring posts after the forms have been removed. As we've already observed, the logistical planning at this Whitehall project is superb. On this job site, all of the necessary materials for today's work have been laid out adjacent to the site. Each of these components, from reinforcement steel to precast stairs, are placed in the same position and lifted to the same work site at virtually the same time every day. Right now, we're watching a precast stair section being installed in its proper position. All day long, and at the appropriate time, Berg and DeVosta's cranes lift and position construction material, from reinforcement steel to door blockouts to electrical conduit. Speaking of cranes, Berg and DeVosta chose to use 2 tower cranes working simultaneously at both ends of the building. This is an ultra-efficient way to work. Other developers, yourself included, may choose to work on a smaller scale using less expensive cranes and equipment. Many Outinord builders choose to work with 1 crawler crane and 1 crew to keep their day's production output at an easier-to-handle 2,000 to 3,600 square feet. But no matter what production rate you choose, you can count on Outinord to produce results for you. Results that put money in your pocket, from labor and materials efficiencies, capital cost savings, and faster cash flow. Many Outinord builders choose to use a portion of these savings in quality givebacks, such as larger closets, fancier kitchens and baths, or perhaps more appealing architectural design to help sell or rent a project faster. But even without these givebacks, an Outinord-built structure is easier to sell or rent thanks to the superior quality of reinforced concrete construction. For example, Outinord's solid concrete party walls and slab surfaces mean greatly reduced noise and vibration transmission between units. 2 highly prized features well appreciated by anyone who's ever lived at close quarters with neighbors. And the monolithic pour is seismic and fireproof, an excellent selling point for any renter or buyer, but an even more important benefit for those who retain building ownership and have to foot the ongoing maintenance and insurance bills. For those builders or architects concerned about design flexibility, we can assure you that you will suffer little, if any, loss of design freedom. The variations available in span length and height give the architect or developer a potent weapon in the search for sales-worthy design, in addition to Outinord's positive cost control. As seen here, Outinord tunnel forms may be used to build many different and handsome architectural styles, from single-story to high-rise, detached to semi-detached. And this same design flexibility is perfect for a broad range of applications, including hotels, public housing, congregate living facilities, apartment houses, luxury condominiums, university dormitories, hospitals, nursing homes, or even jails. Don't let time and your competitors pass you by. Outinord, it's about time.